In this segment, we're going to be talking about some questions a lot of people think about during Ramadan. And we have again Asala Dabke and Habibi squad.
Do you know who they performed for?
A minor.
Do you know who they
A minor, we got
Say Drake.
Drake versus Kendrick Lamar.
Say Drake.
شكله يزرع. Yeah, this plan. There's a lot of inventing to do.
Okay, so right now it's Ramadan. A lot of people are starting to get in touch with their faith and connect with God a lot more than your typical days. I wanted to ask all of you, like, what is something you enjoy about Ramadan?
Just for me, I love it. I enjoy cutting habits. I think the best time to ever cut any habit that you don't like is Ramadan, because you have 30 days to fast, and there's not much to do besides think and be patient and be grateful. So if you have any bad habits, cutting them in Ramadan is really good, smart. I've done it for the last 2 years, and I have something else personal this month that I would like to cut out as a habit. And I always wait for Ramadan because it's the easiest way to do it.
Everyone's gonna ask, what is the thing you want to cut off?
Oh, that's between me and God. That's Allah. It stops there.
All right, I like it. We're keeping it halal.
Is it wrong if I say I like the Saharat?
What?
Is it wrong if I say I like the Saharat? Like, staying up late with the boys وكذا يعني الvibe حق رمضان يعني صراحة.
I like that.
Really
You
nice.
like the vibes. You like the vibes.
You like the vibes?
You like the vibes. The Ramadan vibes. We like the Ramadan vibes.
The vibes are sick.
The vibes are sick. Yo, give me an answer. What about you guys?
I would say for me, Ramadan is always a time for giving. Obviously, you should always be giving all throughout the year, but I think Ramadan is kind of like the time when a lot of people give more than usual, and I think it's the best time to also, now with everything going on back home, whether in Palestine or in Gaza or in Syria, I think now, and Sudan as well, anywhere around the world, now is kind of the time to give back and support our people back home. And I think Ramadan is always, the best time to do that. Since, everything is kind of, I look at Ramadan as, you used to play video games and you get double XP weekends. You know what I'm talking about? Ramadan is that double XP month where it's like everything is elevated, everything is heightened, and it's almost, the best time to give. And if you want to give, check the link in our bio.
I was actually going to ask, what is it ways people can give back?
So we're actually, we're going to be going on a deployment, inshallah, in a couple of weeks. So we're going to be going down to Lebanon to hand deliver aid. Which that's something, it's almost become a tradition now that we do every single year. It's really, really nice to kind of go on the ground and hand deliver the aid that, alhamdulillah, our people are supporting us to give back through their generous donations. So it's always a good time. There's countless campaigns, charity campaigns on social media. We have one that we're running right now. It's called Hope Across Borders, where we're supporting Palestine, Lebanon, and Syria. But give back in any way. Support your mosque, support your community, your local community back home. I think it's just now is the time to
I would like to take back my answer. That was the best. Best thing صراحة you could have said. I'd like to take back everything I said.
You know what? What I will say is we have the saying back home. We say Ramadan yajma'na. And that is also true, because Ramadan does bring everybody together.
Absolutely.
Whether it's through prayer, where we're praying more in congregation, tarawih, that vibes. What we do all the time is we have the post tarawih link up.
Underground.
So there's an
What? Sorry?
post tarawih link up. It's called the underground.
The after party.
It's after party.
So after we go and pray tarawih, we always go to like an underground parking lot, and we're all wearing our like thobes and our dashes. And you'll actually notice in our content during the month of Ramadan, that's where we usually film our content too. So it kind of switches up. So I agree with you, Hussam. 100%. That part, that communal vibe of Ramadan is something that you long for every single month.
I love
Even
that.
iftar dinners.
And iftar dinners.
Bro, they all go. You get invited to somebody's house. You go. You have iftar, المدسف, المدري شو,
It's the vibe.
A lot of food بس بالاخير بس بتصفي شوربه بلقمتين والواحد خلص
صح
انسطح.
صح.
Then خلاص you're-
I have one, but I would hate to follow that one up. But it's okay, I'll follow that one up. Just the feeling of peace.
The feeling of peace.
know what I mean?
Tell us a little bit more.
It's such a euphoric feeling during Ramadan, where you just feel so at ease. You feel so like you have so much peace with yourself, and you're just closer. It feels like you're closer to the religion and closer to God. So like in that sense, I don't know, just that 1 out of the 12 months that I feel that most at peace,
Shaitan's locked up.
Shaitan's
what?
up top.
صح ولا لا يا جماعة؟
Wait, say that again. Say that.
Shaitan's locked up.
Shaitan's
devil's
locked
locked
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So that's probably where you're getting that sense of peace.
I was gonna ask, like, how do you start achieving that
did you just
sense
say
of
me and the
peace?
shaitan are boys?
He said you and the shaitan are linking up
I
daily.
think
I all understood it that way.
But the question I have is like, how do you achieve peace? Like, how do you start getting to that sense of peace? Is it just for
Pray
Ramadan?
5 times a day.
Okay, so praying.
Fasting, praying,
It's the habits during Ramadan.
stopping all the bad habits. Yeah, basically that's it. Like you just feel more at peace and you feel more like in tune with your religion. You know.
I want to say, subhanAllah, it's just in Ramadan. It should be a habit outside of Ramadan. But during Ramadan, me and the boys, my favorite thing to do is pray Fajr with them at the masjid. After like staying up and praying Taraweeh and just spending the night reading Quran, reflecting about Islam, like it is just the best feeling ever.
That's
And it
amazing.
keeps us united and it gets us closer to Allah. And I think that's command a big essence of Ramadan, which is just getting closer to Deen, remembering what's really important, remembering that this life is just temporary and there are way bigger things than, you know, our little problems. And it also signifies if you can put away eating food, which is a necessity, if you can control yourself and put away something that's necessary to you, food and water, and you can control yourself in that manner, then why couldn't you control yourself with other things such as anger? Why can't you have patience and control that? Or, you know, addiction to certain substances, nicotine, smoking, whatever it is. Why can't you put that aside? Why can't you delete that from your normal daily habits? I feel like Ramadan really highlights that section as well.
I love that. I love that. So if you guys smoking, you gotta take a break from that nicotine.
Nicotine.
Okay, so there's something you guys both mentioned and I wanna just highlight. So all of you mentioned this aspect of like brotherhood, like doing it through community. But let's say someone who's listening to this, they don't have that. Like they don't have brothers or sisters that they can do this. What advice would you want to give that person?
You don't need it. It's a good positive. It's a good cherry on top.
Yeah.
But you don't need it. It's between you and God. That's the whole
between
point.
you and God.
My
That's the
advice would be
whole
go
point.
to a masjid. What are you
mean,
talking
yeah,
about? You
yeah.
go to a masjid in Ramadan, the community is there, my
so
brother.
much to
You'll
do.
find
Yeah.
so many welcoming.
Of course, 100%. But that doesn't mean that if somebody can't or something like that, that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be participating in the things that you do during Ramadan. Because praying to God 5 times, at the end of the day, what is Ramadan? It's between you and God. It's getting your relationship with God better. It's like, it's all that. So that's the sole purpose. It's not the jam'ah. It's not, everything else is nice, but that's not the purpose, right?
I respect that.
One thing I will say too is, I don't know about you guys, and I'm assuming honestly it's the same all across North America because you see it everywhere, even like major cities in the U.S. But alhamdulillah, here in North America, I feel like our masajid and our mosques are very communal. Like at least I can speak on behalf of like our community in London, which shout out London, Ontario. Alhamdulillah, man, we're so blessed to have such a strong community at all of our mosques. So you can be, quote unquote, an outsider. You could have, been, hadn't visited a mosque in months or whatever. But when you go and you visit some of the mosques that we have, and we're very blessed to have, you'll feel that community, and they'll bring you in. So 100%, like Hazem said, sure, it is 100% a positive and you don't need it, but if you are longing for it, just go to the mosque. It's a beautiful thing, especially because this is Baytullah, and it's a place where we all kind of come together and we congregate and we pray, but it's also become almost like community centers for us in North America because this is our home away from home, right? So a lot of people back home, they have that sense of community already, where for us, we almost have to like overcompensate because we don't have it.
Yeah.
So our mosque has become that overcompensation that has become that community, which is a beautiful thing.
I love that. So
Wasef.
I like that.
I didn't know you were like that,
And I like the fact that you guys just mentioned right now, like, hey, it's exactly what you said, Rawad. It's not between you and having a group of friends. That's not an excuse to not practice your faith or to get closer to God. But if you go to any mosque, you can find a lot of welcoming people, and if anything, people would love to bring you in.
You know that feeling when you take the first sip of a really good coffee? Now imagine that anywhere. That's where Sip comes in. Sip is a mobile espresso cafe that brings signature drinks and snacks straight to your weddings, pop-ups, offices, festivals, you name it. No long lines, no hassle, just really good coffee. Whenever, wherever, book Sip to make your next event unforgettable.
I'm drinking matcha from Sip Coffee. You know why?
Why?
Because Sip happens.
Now, let's assume I am a person who is struggling with my faith and I don't really know what to do. But Ramadan comes and I'm curious. I want to start to connect with God. What would be the first step you would recommend?
Visit a mosque.
Visit a mosque.
For sure. No, for sure. Go back
Yeah.
to visit the mosque question or answer. B, I would also surround myself around better people.
That's a
Obviously,
big
like,
one.
the people you are who your friends are, right? So to be a good person is to have good people around you, and then to be a good Muslim, to be just a religious person, or to be not even a religious like person, but just to cover your basis. Like the bare minimum is to pray 5 times a day. That's the bare minimum. Find a group of friends who does that, who encourages you to do that, who goes on trips who gets excited to go to Umrah trips, for example. Like if your friends are excited, you guys are hyping up Umrah, like you know that's your group of friends. A lot of people go through a lot of things. A lot of people have different stories. At the end of the day, like you guys said, that's between us, like the person and Allah. So you never have to worry about your actions being judged, your past being judged, because nobody from the outside is judging you. So as long as you can understand that, then your religion's already, your deen, like inside of you is already getting stronger. And then on top of that, again, surrounding yourself around great people who fear Allah and actually take religion seriously, that's all you need. Because so long that you're surrounded around friends who just don't have their priorities set, your priorities won't be set.
And I think with a lot of people who are struggling with their Islam and they've sinned a lot in the past, there's always this mentality of, oh, I've sinned so much and I've done so much bad, how can I turn to Allah? And it's like that's literally the trick of the shaitan, is to make you think that, hey, you can't turn to Allah because you've sinned so much in the past. Where people tend to forget that Allah is the most grateful, the most merciful. So, and the best person is the one who repents. So it's kind of focusing on the future instead of the past, and always returning to Allah, and just remembering that this is the trick of the shaitan. He doesn't want you to turn back. He wants you to stay astray. So that's one.
Very well said.
Just to give
And now he's chained up. Now he's chained up. So this is your time. This is your time.
Just to give a glimpse of how merciful and forgiving Allah is, just as a reminder to everybody, Allah was willing to forgive Fir'aun, known as the worst of humankind. Like, if he's willing to forgive Fir'aun, I guarantee you he's willing to forgive you. So repent.
SubhanAllah.
That's the shaitan. Huh?
Yeah,
You're right.
I was gonna add to that about surrounding yourself with friends. It's super infectious. Like everything else you do, Islam is like very infectious if you surround yourself with the right people. So if you're already curious about it, step one, surround yourself with good people. Make sure someone is showing the beauty of Islam, because the most common thing you'll see online is that it's portrayed in such a
Dark way.
like ruling, controlling way, where that's not even true at all. They don't even know that like 97% of the Quran is about like acting kind, being friendly to your neighbors, being a better human being. That's like 97% of it. So surround yourself with that, and it's very infectious. Like when I see a lot of my friends start to pray more often, like I see Haz, I see Yassine, my friend, like behind the camera, our producer, he started praying like 5 times a day consistently. That's very infectious. Because you look at it like, that's kind of nice. I used to do this. Why shouldn't I do this now? I should go and do more of it. Like, it's infectious in a nice way. It's like marketing. You keep seeing a commercial over and over again. Eventually you'll bite, Eventually you'll bite and you'll buy it. Same thing here. Eventually you're going to bite and you'll do it.
Prayer is marketing.
I love that analogy.
Like how many times you see the same ad? You're like, oh, I don't want this ad. And then eventually you're curious. Like, you know what, fine, I'll buy it. It's the same thing.
So, yeah.
All right,
and-
maybe from now on, just focus on the Asala Dabke.
You guys got it.
It's a good marketing tactic. But
Tell us. Wait, I want to hear what.
So basically, shut up, Omar.
What I want to say is, your question was somebody struggling with faith. I think Ramadan is the absolute best time to come back to faith, and I think that's actually the beauty of fasting that a lot of people might not realize. I feel like I'm going to butcher this hadith, so I'm just going to paraphrase it, but basically somebody came to Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was also struggling with faith, or I think it was something, I forget what it was exactly, but the Prophet's recommendation sallallahu alaihi wasallam was to fast, right? The reason for fasting is because it really increases your taqwa, your God consciousness, your consciousness of Allah. That, really think about it. Whenever you were to do something, bad or sinful, you're not really thinking of Allah in that point of time. And then if you were to begin thinking of Allah, you would probably not do that sin, right? And I think the beauty in fasting is that it takes something that you do, probably the thing that you do, the most routine thing in your life, which is eating and drinking, because you eat and drink, and you think of how many times you take a sip of water a day and how many times you eat a day. It takes that thing that you do so often, and it makes it, you have to abstain from it now. So when you constantly are abstaining from something that is engraved in your routine, every single time you go and you want to eat and you're like, oh wait, I'm fasting, now you just remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so it builds that God consciousness in you, it almost programs it in you, right, in a very, very beautiful way. And to me, that's what I see kind of the benefit of fasting, is that it increases your consciousness of God, that every single time I want to go and I want to say, oh, I'm fasting. Or why am I fasting? For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm about to bite and oh, I'm fasting. I can't do that. Why am I fasting? For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it takes you away from any sin that you're gonna, commit, and it brings you closer to Allah. I think that's by far my favorite thing about Ramadan.
I love that.
And fasting.
And also,
tell us.
Kind of a news flash, if you're struggling with like religion in Islam, well, everybody else is. Everybody does. It's the whole point of the Fatiha. You're asking God to guide you on the right path. It's literally something you say 5 times a day. Everybody struggles with it. If it's not something you struggle with, then what are you working towards? Oh, like, okay, I'm a perfect Muslim now, that's it, I'm done. No, that's not how it works. You're constantly striving for better. That's the whole point.
And I like the fact that you said that, because I think a lot of people, they would have the mentality it's like a zero-sum game. Like, if I can't be
perfect,
I'm not going to practice.
No, that's not. No one is a perfect. Like Islam is perfect, Muslims are not. Like no one's a perfect Muslim. Period. People, you just gotta work towards it. That's it.
Yeah, and to add on to that, actually, like because Ramadan is a 30-day period. You're able to break habits, going back to his point of, the best thing he likes about Ramadan is to break those maybe old habits, maybe make new ones. You have a 30-day period to break those bad ones, make good ones, and you have such a perfect amount of period, I guess you could say, to create good ones and actually hold on to them, so that by the end of Ramadan, you're able to go past that, with those habits in mind. Alhamdulillah, I think it's a blessing to have such a period where, like you said, shaitan is locked up and you can just focus on Allah and doing good things, good deeds, being focused around the community, doing good for others, good for yourself, and obviously for the sake of Allah, doing all these things.
They say, isn't it 21 days to build a habit?
21 days.
So it's like, subhanAllah, there's like hikmah in everything.
Yeah,
right?
and not
like,
only
Allah
that,
A'lam.
if you think 1 out of 12, if you can keep that habit for 1 out of 12, what's the other 11? Do you get what I mean?
100%.
Like it's so easy to build that habit and keep that habit afterwards.
Especially in the Ramadan, building on your point, I love challenging myself and creating a new habit, like you said. I don't believe in New Year's resolution. Every time January 1st comes, I'm just like, whatever, man. Like, it just completely passes me by. I don't care about it. What I focus on is Ramadan. Yeah. Ramadan is my New Year's resolution mark. I really don't think you could just make a New Year's resolution in one day. But like, for example, this Ramadan, inshallah, my goal is to learn Surah Al-Kahf. If I can do that, that would be amazing. And I have other things in mind personally that I want to deal with moving forwards for the year. So Ramadan is my New Year's resolution period. It's a month. Yeah, it's a month of focusing on me, focusing on Allah, focusing on the people, the family, my habits, the trajectory for the next year. This is the time to build yourself and go to the next level. It's the month of Ramadan.
Of course, and just aside from like Ramadan teaching us patience, where we can't eat until like Maghrib. It also teaches us consistency, like you briefly mentioned. We're consistent every single day. You're gonna read. Try to memorize Surah Al-Kahf. Every day or two, you're gonna memorize a page, two pages, 3 pages. You're gonna stay consistent, because at the end of that, month, inshallah, you'll have Surah Al-Kahf memorized, and at the back of it, you're also being trained on consistency that you can carry forward after Ramadan for other things as well.
Exactly.
Your life.
So I like that. So building a lot of healthy habits. I want to ask another question, unless...
No, I was just going to say, Shabab, nobody has mentioned Atay في كنافة.
I'm excited for Ramadan كمان. Let's be honest.
You know what?
Let's be honest.
You know what?
Let's be honest.
To be fair, when it got to me, I was gonna say Shawra bit Adas, but to be fair, you went on this like next level philosophical.
We killed the vibe. I can't lie. My bad.
I'm not gonna
We
sit
had
there and
to
be like,
match your energy, bro. We had to match your energy.
My final answer.
Atayif.
Atayif. I love it. It's the vibes. Like
Yeah,
Sam
the
said, the
vibes.
vibes. The vibes.
It all comes full circle.
Goes out that vibe.
Full circle.
Okay.
By the way, can we talk about how Arabs don't need a vibe? Like we just went from yelling at each other and like celebrating to Ramadan is a like
very
so
different.
We are the vibe. Arabs are the vibe. You don't need a vibe.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Arabs are the vibe. I like that. That could be a shirt. Now, marketing. But now we talked a lot about how to reclaim your faith and really using Ramadan as an opportunity to build habits that you can take after Ramadan. I want to know, what are some pro tips? Like what's like a survival guide for Ramadan that you, from your own experiences, like do these things to make sure your Ramadan is the best Ramadan ever?
So let's start off with pray 5 times a day.
Pray 5 times a day.
But how do you pray 5
fast.
times?
Huh?
Like it's easier said than done. How
Yeah.
do you get yourself into the habit
Of praying.
Because anybody can say, well, I'll pray 5 times a day, but how do you do that?
You just start praying.
You just start praying. You start act. When I'm curious, Wasef, this is a trick answer.
No, well, I feel like one of the, and like,
How about I ask you, how did you get into the habit of praying 5 times?
for,
Don't even ask them this.
no, for me, and like, one of the biggest things that I remember, I forget the Sheikh, but I was watching like a lecture, and he said this: don't build prayer around your life, build your life around prayer. Right? So when you're scheduling your day, and I have this to do, I have this to do, I have this to do. If you're not blocking out time, or if you're not separating the things that you're going to do, right, with prayer, then you're going to forget about it, right? So instead of, I have this meeting, whatever, I have this meeting, because instead of just putting them all back to back, build your meeting times around your prayers. Like what a lot of me and my friends say is, we don't say, I'll meet you at 1 o'clock. We say, I'll meet you after Dhuhr. Right? We'll pray Dhuhr, then we'll go. So, Dhuhr bi'adhin, we pray, then we go, right? So it's a mindset of building your life and your schedule and everything that you're going to do around your prayers. Don't try to squeeze in prayers between all the, millions of things that you need to do. That for me was the biggest one. And then I think, this is going to sound stupid, but I got this thing on my Apple Watch. It's called Pray Watch.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, it was a
Great
game
app.
changer. The best, like not even sponsor or anything, but like honestly a great app. What it does is like it reminds you.
Yeah, but it's Pray Watch.
No,
specifically.
Pray Watch.
I don't know what it is about it.
It's for your Apple Watch, and what it does is it gives you reminders, and it has this like, actually I have the actual widget here. Basically, what it does is it gives you all the prayer times, and then it gives you like a gauge of how much time you have left until the next prayer is going to come, all right? And it reminds you, and you could set those reminders 20 minutes before the prayer. So it's like when you're doing a billion things, and I get on my hand buzzes. I have to check the notification, because who's not checking notifications? I check the notification, expecting something from Instagram, and I say, Asr in 20 minutes. I'm like, crap, I haven't prayed Asr. Let me go pray. So I think just building those reminders within your life, I think, is the best thing, and like actually putting it on your calendar if you follow a calendar.
But can I ask you something? From someone who's tried that, like myself, like if there's one thing that I struggle with a lot, it's to stay consistent with prayers and all the time. I do a good job to do it in Ramadan because, again, who isn't? Like the easiest thing I found to do for myself is when I'm around my friends all the time and they're praying. Because if someone's praying and says, Yalla, pray,
you're gonna get up.
I'm saying no. I'm not gonna say no. I'm gonna get up. But I've tried personally, I've tried that routine where like, okay, build your things around your prayer time. But again, when you live your day-to-day life, obviously there should be a way, and everyone will respond differently. But it's very, like, to me personally, it still is such a struggle, because when there's work and when there's food and when there's drinks, 100%. It's so easy to say, 20 minutes, okay, let me finish this one email. I'm 10 minutes away. Okay, let me do this, and then, you know what? I'll do it like 5 minutes before Maghrib, and then eventually I'll always lose track and it won't work. So my question, I guess, to anyone who would like to answer is, like, as someone who struggles, I would like to find a way that I can commit to salah without maybe having to always depend on my friend being there, say, Salli. I'm not going to hire someone to be next to me saying that all the time.
I'll respond first and foremost.
Tell us, and then
first and foremost, and هلا تلسفت, I'm by no means perfect, because I
Oh,
still
but
miss
yeah,
prayers.
I understand,
100%. That's one. Two, what I found to help a lot is habit stacking. Have you guys heard of that?
You had to have read Atomic Habits.
Atomic
'cause
Habits
everything
by-
you're
by
mentioning
James
right
Clear.
now,
Yeah.
like making the habit easy, making the habit
Yeah, reducing
accessible,
friction. Exactly.
everything you're saying.
100%. For me, the biggest thing is like try to pray before you get back home. I don't know why that was just like a big thing that actually helped me, especially Aisha. I don't know if you guys like, bro, the Aisha grind, man.
Praying Aisha on time is the best thing in the world.
It'll save your life.
It's the best thing in the
Aisha and
world.
Fajr.
Wallah.
So get it out of the way.
Fajr is a must. Fajr is just to start the day. That I feel like is a lot easier. But Aisha, I don't know what it is about. Praying Aisha and not delaying it is the best thing in the world.
It's because you have such a long time between Aisha and like
And
Fajr
when you-
technically,
yeah.
so you're like, oh, I'll just do it like before
Exactly.
I sleep. Right up sleeping
Except
at
for
2.
the night, you know.
You're done. It's funny that we all struggle with the same things, and I think that's actually like one of the important parts of this episode is that like if you're watching this and you think and you see people around you and you think this guy prays and this guy's perfect. Trust me, we all struggle. Whether you pray once a day or 0 times a day or all 5 a day, we all have the same struggles.
Yeah.
Every time I viewed it as a habit, it always fizzled. It always became a burden. It always became routine, something that, on good days, I'm holding it. On bad days, I'm not holding it. Instead, I view it as a mindset where it's nothing is more important right now than praying. Nothing is more important. Because every day, every time you're doing anything in your life, you're always negotiating. Your mind is always negotiating, right? So like, let's say, like the example that you were saying, where you were writing an email and you're like, okay, 20 more minutes, I could give it 20 more minutes, right? Every time that negotiation starts, your head is thinking, okay, what should I do right now? Should I do this? And then you start negotiating with yourself internally. But that negotiation comes to a halt right away when it comes to prayer, because there's nothing more important than praying right now. So every time you negotiate with yourself, you're like, all right, you got me. I can't do anything right now. And then you get up and you pray. That's how I view it. More as a kind of like a mindset than it is a habit.
I like that. So it's more of a mindset, a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. It's just a
Not
mindset.
just a habit.
Nothing is more important.
So, but since you guys have been talking a lot about habits and you mentioned the gym, I feel like a lot of gym bros who might be listening to this, it's like, okay, how do I keep my physique? How do I build while I'm fasting, while I'm still in Ramadan?
All right.
So what advice do you have for those gym bros?
So very simple. Protein. Should I say it one more time? Protein. Okay, so this is what you gotta do. After iftar, you have to try to get your protein in. You're talking about physique now, right? You're talking about
fitness.
building muscle. Yeah, you gotta get your protein in, and then that's what I'm gonna say for now, because I'm gonna pass it on to the expert.
دقيقة before you begin بس فرجينا شوي. We can listen to him. Listen to him, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. I need to calm down. You guys are gassing me up too much. Okay. صراحة just to add on, he's right. You need a lot of protein. صراحة protein literally signals to your body to grow more. Like other than being a building block, it does signal to your body to grow more. وكمان the only other thing is just training in general. The only other thing is training. Even if you can't work out, like go to the gym, you can easily work out at home. You can look up a lot of guys that do calisthenics and they'll help you very easily find very advanced workouts that are very hard to do. And then other than that, the gym is a habit, so you have to kind of also, like Wasef was saying earlier, habit stack it. So whenever it's the easiest is the best time most probably to go, even if it's like right before iftar, you don't have too crazy of a workout عشان you don't get dizzy or anything like that. And
Is there any scientific benefit of working out before iftar while you're still fasted, in the fasted state?
And I used to think that, but now I think fasted cardio is a myth. As long as you're doing, like if you're doing like any workout, it doesn't matter whether you're doing it while you're fasted or while you're fed.
If you're lifting weights, if you're lifting weights, is it better to do it before?
I don't think it matters. I could talk about this for an hour, so you don't want to.
Okay, I have a question. Chat's gonna be blowing up.
Because I think this is a question a lot of people are wondering. If I'm lifting weights, is it better to do it before iftar or after iftar?
It's whenever it's the easiest.
Whenever it's the easiest.
It's simply that, because think about it. If you're saving it for after iftar and you're saving it for after iftar and you're too tired to go after iftar, it's over. خلاص. So you have to do it at the most convenient time. Even if you have to cut down your work capacity, that's fine.
Okay, so in terms of eating, you said the protein, right? But the question is, how do you get enough protein when you're fasting? Because the window between iftar and
we're gonna get
just eat less carbs and double the protein.
Exactly. Eat less carbs and double the protein.
If you don't eat much carbs, it's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as you're getting your protein intake in. and you can always use supplements. You can always use protein shakes, things like that. And I'm just gonna say this outright. I'm pretty sure no one's gonna go for a nice heavy iftar, especially since when you're having iftar, it's always ma'lube, all that stuff. You're not gonna go to the gym after a ma'lube after not eating all day. Let's be honest here. So personally, I do personally again, I do recommend you go before you have that big iftar meal, even if it means having a small meal, maybe just some dates, something like that. Hit your workout, come back and eat more, or work out right before iftar and then eat right after iftar.
Wasef.
Yeah, and I think one of the key things during Ramadan, in terms of staying consistent and actually going to the gym, the simple answer is don't. خليك على السمبوسة. خليك على المقلوبة. Enjoy your month. Enjoy your month and forget whatever the hell they're saying. Okay, just enjoy it. and the best leg workout is tarawih, and that's it.
All right, so
you take out your cutting board, you make your steak, you put your eggs on it, you set up your ايوه معك قطايف شوي هيك and you're good to go. خلاص توكل على الله.
مش توجع steak وطايف.
توكل على الله.
you convinced me 1 month off the gym يا عمي خلاص.
Enjoy yourself.
Well, that's too funny. So don't go to the gym. I like that. I'm gonna go with what Wasef said.
Definitely go to the gym.
Okay, so we talked a lot about like routine and fitness and adjusting schedule. I know no one here is a student, right? But I feel like a lot of the audience are students. What advice would you have for students who might be struggling studying with exams as well as fasting? Well, Azim seems.
I'm not currently a student, and I know it's really, 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 really tough, especially when you're fasting. But scientifically, you are more focused and you have more energy when fasting. So you do perform better. I mean, when you're taking an exam, the best kind of advice you're given, other than study, which is obvious, is get a good night's rest. Why? Because you're focused, you're alert, your brain is active. So, and all those things you're going to witness while fasting. So,
and to anyone wondering, absolutely no, you cannot break your fast because you have an exam.
Thank you.
Okay? That's never ever been a thing. Ever.
We asked the Sheikh for a fast.
Sheikh, if I have a very, very important exam, it's worth like 70% of my final grade. Can I break my fast for the exam?
I'm so scared of the answer.
Oh, صح. Is it worth
First take out your chain.
My chain is out, حبيبي. تفضحنا قدام الجماهير.
Okay.
I would say, is it worth the benefits of you getting into Jannah?
I would say you can. I would say you can.
70%?
You can as long as you're okay with Jahannam.
Right? Oh damn!
Not only that,
Escalated.
to kind of reword it and calm it down. I gotta
Sheikh,
calm it down a little bit.
When you're done,
our Sheikh wants to say something.
before your Sheikh, let me fix off what you were saying.
Oh, you see, both shuyukh are Lebanese, I'm not gonna say anything about it. Anyway.
لما تخلص لما تعمل امتحانك, when you have your exam and you do decide to break your fast, because you broke your fast, just make sure you pay it up after you're done. If you are going to break your fast, don't do it. I'm not telling you to do it. Okay.
Let's listen to the next Sheikh.
Don't listen to this guy.
Hot takes. I like it.
It's very simple. Like, if you're gonna break your fast to do good on an exam, first of all, if you're gonna do an exam after fasting for like 15 days, and then you one day you decide you're gonna eat, you're not gonna feel more focused. That's not a thing. Maybe caffeine, but still. Anyway, if you go and you do your exam and you're thinking, I'm not gonna fast because I want to do well on this exam, well, how are you gonna do well on this exam? Is Allah Ghadman. صح ولا لا?
Good point.
Like, when you walk into the exam, you say Bismillah. You're gonna say Bismillah and break your fast. Like, where's the logic, right? So obviously, don't break your fast for an exam.
That's
so your thinking is
solid input from Big Brothers.
Unless it's engineered. No,
unless it's engineered. I have another last question, okay? Because I think a lot of times people try to kind of use the system where they fall asleep during the day and then they're like, they have like a 2 or 3 hour. And we have Ramadan.
Start by saying I'm pretty sure we're all guilty of this right now, okay?
But then are you really fasting when you do that?
You're not supposed to change your schedule.
You're not supposed to
You're not
change your
supposed to
schedule.
yeah,
Okay.
you're supposed to take work very seriously. I don't know, like people.
The thing is the vibes.
But the
And also for the gym, you can eat more when you do that because you have more window, to eat.
You know, honestly, because
curious.
like back in the day, in like elementary school, me and my family would go to this was when Ramadan was in the summer, and we'd go back home, we'd go to visit family, and then I would be on that schedule of sleeping through the day and then staying up at night. But you don't feel it as much, and there's not as much barakah in that. Whereas like now, because now we're working adults and we obviously can't sleep all day, so it's like now when you're waking up at 7, 8 o'clock and you're fasting all the way until the evening, there's so much more barakah in that, and you actually feel it. And the one thing that I always kind of that gets me through it is, subhanAllah, there's the more that you struggle, the more inshallah hasanat and barakah that you will get, because you're struggling for the sake of Allah, because I'm still, although I'm waking up early and I'm doing all this, and then I'm still going to Taraweeh, and then maybe I sleep for a bit, and then last 10 days I'm going to Qiyam, and then sleep for a bit, and then go pray Fajr, and then sleep for a bit, and then wake up for work. Like that struggle, there is barakah in that. And I think you skipping out on all that and just sleeping throughout the day and then staying up at night, you're gonna get by. And there's, Sheikh, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if that's haram. There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say it's haram or you can't do that. I just think you're gonna really miss out on the beauty of.
I think
what
it's
the month
also
is all
important to mention, what are you doing at night? What are you doing staying up? Are you staying up playing video games, hanging out with the boys? What are you doing at night? Are you at the masjid praying, learning Quran? Right? It all depends, but I don't know. The sheikh can decide. I'm not a sheikh personally.
Saraha, I wanted to add something about the exam. Just to go back to the exam thing.
Let's
go back to the exam thing. One last
exam.
point, because he said something that reminded me about a point. If you are gonna if you decide, I'm thinking about breaking my fast, and you don't break your fast, you get double X the reward.
Double XP.
Double XP, wallah, it's double XP. You get
Double XP.
anytime you decide to do something and you're like, should I break my fast? And you don't break your fast, you get the reward for fasting and deciding not to break your fast. So you get double that. Saraha, good deal, Saraha, 2 for 1.
I like that. Okay. So, thank you guys very much for sharing all of this about Ramadan. I'm gonna leave the last word for Wasef, because I see you have the mic in your hand. You wanna give one last?
We all unanimously agree that Wasef should have the last word.
I don't agree. I'm gonna say, if you can give
Agreed. Wasef
one
will have the last word.
If you can give one last piece of advice for someone who is listening to this in Ramadan, what would it be?
Listen, first advice for all the mothers: Atayif Joz, forget it. Let's put it to the side. Let's get rid of it. What I will say is, you have this month, and our brother Khalil from Human Appeal, the charity that we work with, he always talks about RPM, it's rewards per minute. And this is, no, seriously, it's
double XP.
Double XP and rewards per minute.
RPM.
So the RPM, your rewards per minute during Ramadan.
Yeah.
When you have a blessed holy month, and like we said, this is, the shaitan is shackled. Your rewards are multiplied. You have, honestly, a month is not that long. You have, this, exact amount of time, this 1 month, really try to maximize your reward per minute. Every single minute that you're spending during Ramadan, whether you're at work or at home or at the masjid or doing whatever, really try to maximize everything about this month. Whether it's breaking bad habits, whether it's building new habits, whether it's trying to get closer to your faith, whether you want to give more, whatever you want to do. Now is the time, because this is our January 1st. This is our new year. This is, new year, new me, new Ramadan, new me. Right, so really try to maximize your rewards per minute, every single minute this month, and inshallah Ramadan Mubarak, and may it be a blessed month for all of you watching, and for all you brothers as well, and for you, Hani, and thank you for having us.
Thank you very much, Wasef, for concluding that.
New
Ramadan, new me. That's another shirt right there. That's a shirt. New Ramadan, new me. Trademark. You guys, Asala Dabke, Habibi Squad, thank you so much for coming on Yalla, Let's Talk, for discussing Ramadan and the best practices you have in this holy month. For everyone who is listening or watching, please don't forget to follow Asala Dabke and Habibi Squad, and let us know what you think in the comments. Yalla, bye.
Yalla, let's talk.
Yalla, let's talk.